The production spool tree, also known as a horizontal tree, is a collection of valves with its main function being to control the flow of production fluid from the reservoir to the surface. The tree houses the Subsea Control Module, or SCM, to control the function of the valves and obtain data from various sensors positioned around the tree. The tree also houses the choke, which is controlled via the SCM and is used to throttle the flow of produced fluid to the surface. More details of the SCM and choke are shown in the multipurpose running tool operations animation. The spool tree is installed using the tree running tool. The tool allows for lifting of the tree, actuation of connector rods to lock the tree to the wellhead, and the facility to test the sealing gaskets for the wellhead connection and the flowline connection. Before the tree is run subsea, the bore protector must be inserted into the spool body. The bore protector is an internal sleeve that protects the internal sealing faces and hydraulic stab receptacles of the spool body from damage and debris during drilling for completion of the well. The bore protector is run using a running tool with the drill pipe adapter. The bore protector locks to the running tool using a J-slot mechanism. The bore protector and running tool are suspended on drill pipe over the bore of the spool tree and lowered slowly. Checks must be made to ensure the electrical penetrator, or DHPT, is fully retracted, and the indicator shows this on the front of the tree. Once landed, the assembly is rotated anti-clockwise to engage the anti-rotation key. Once the bore protector is installed and the anti-rotation key is engaged, sufficient weight is set off to set the bore protector lock ring. Once the bore protector is locked in position, the running tool is rotated clockwise to unlock the J-slots and then removed and retrieved from the bore. The tree running tool is suspended above the Christmas tree on a winch wire using the lifting shackle. The iWOX umbilical is attached to provide hydraulic fluid to function the tree running tool grippers, the latch mechanism to lock the tree running tool to the tree, the mechanism to lock the flow line connected to the flow base, and also to test the wellhead and flow line gaskets. The tree running tool is lowered down over the spool body. The funnel of the tree running tool guides the tool over the spool body re-entry hub. Alignment comes from a guide pin which interacts with a receptacle on the tree top plate. As the tree running tool is being lowered, the function line for the grippers should be set to vent and the connector set to unlock, so the grippers are retracted. Then, when the tree running tool has landed, the function line for the tree connector lock should be pressurized. This function line stays pressurized until the grippers make contact with the connector rods, at which point the line is set to vent. Once the tree running tool has fully landed off, the front ROV panel is checked to ensure the lock mechanism has not moved. The lock indicator bracket should still be in the unlock position, U. In this position, the tree running tool latch function line is pressurized to 2500 psi to latch the tree running tool to the spool body. The fluid moves the lock actuator ring, in turn extending the lock ring into the internal profile of the spool body. As the tree running tool is now latched to the tree, the gasket test line hoses can be connected from the underside of the tree running tool to the connectors on the tree top plate. A check is also made to ensure the tree is fitted with new wellhead connector and flowline connector gaskets. With all connections in place, the tree is tested to confirm functioning of valves and connection to the tree running tool before running subsea. The final task is to change out the lifting sub on the tree running tool for the drill pipe adapter. Once complete, a final visual check is conducted to ensure all hoses and connections are secure, valves are in the correct positions, and long-term covers are installed. The tree is ready to run subsea. The guide wires have been passed through the legs of the tree and the moon pool supports have been removed. A check is made to confirm the wellhead connector and flowline connector are unlocked. The tree running tool hot stab can be used to unlock the flowline connector if not already. At this point, the ROV will have surveyed the wellhead and floor base to ensure there is no damage or interfering objects. The tree is lowered over the wellhead with the ROV in close proximity, inspecting connections such as wellhead and floor line, ensuring the tree is aligned. Before the tree interacts with the guidepost, a record of the hanging weight should be taken. The tree is then lowered until it has fully landed on the wellhead. Once landed, the tree will have made connections with the wellhead and the floorline connector. These now have to be locked. The ROV checks the front of the tree to ensure the indicator is set in the unlock position, U, at which point the tree connector lock line can be pressurized to 4,270 psi. The pressure forces the tree running tool pistons, stroking the connector rods down, which in turn slides the actuator ring down over the locking dogs of the dogging window connector. The dogs lock into the external profile of the wellhead and are locked in position by the actuator ring. The ROV checks the front of the tree to see the lock indicators move to the lock position, L. An overpull test is performed to ensure the connector is locked. The ROV moves to the choke side of the tree to lock the floorline connector to the hub on the floor base. The ROV initially checks the indicator bracket to ensure it is in the unlocked position, U. Once confirmed, the ROV removes the dummy hot stab from the FLC hot stab receptacle and places it in the parking position. It then takes the hot stab from the tree running tool and inserts it into the FLC receptacle. The ROV then moves up the ROV panel to the FLCL and FLCU valves and rotates them a quarter turn anti-clockwise from shut to open. The hot stab in the FLC receptacle is pressurized, which actuates the locking mechanism, stroking down the actuator ring and extending the locking dogs into the external profile of the floorline hub. The actuator ring reaches its stop and keeps the locking dogs locked in position. The FLU line is vented throughout this process. The ROV then checks the indicator bracket to see it has moved to the lock position L before closing the FLCL and FLCU valves with a quarter turn clockwise from open to shut. The ROV then removes the tree running tool hot stab, returning it to its parking position, and also replaces the dummy hot stab to the FLC receptacle. The ROV moves to a safe distance away from the tree to allow for an overpull test to take place. Before conducting the test, the tree running tool gripper control line is vented, releasing the grippers from the connector rods. The tree running tool connector unlock line is pressurized, raising the grippers away from the rods. The pull test can now be conducted, pulling 50,000 pounds or 22,680 kilograms above the hanging weight recorded earlier. Now that the tree is securely connected to the wellhead and floor line, the gaskets on each of these connections are tested. To test the wellhead connection gasket, the ROV needs to open the GTV valve on the front of the tree by rotating it a quarter turn anti-clockwise from shut to open. The wellhead test line from the tree running tool into the tree top plate can now be pressurized to 5,000 psi for 15 minutes. The pressure is applied to the back of the gasket. Fluid levels and the bore of the tree are monitored for any pressure changes. Once complete, the pressure is vented to ensure no pressure is left in the system, and the GTV valve is shut by rotating it a quarter turn clockwise from open to shut. The same process is carried out for the floorline gasket. However, the ROV operates the FLGT valve on the choke side of the tree, and the floorline gasket test line from the tree running tool is the one that is pressurized to 1000 psi for 15 minutes. Once the test is complete, the FLGT valve is shut and the line is vented to ensure no pressure remains in the system. Once all tests are complete and the tree is secure on the wellhead and floor base, the tree running tool can be retrieved. The tree running tool unlatch function is set to 2500 psi, which will retract the actuator ring holding the lock ring into the profile of the spool body. The lock ring retracts and releases the tree running tool from the tree. The tree running tool can now be lifted from the tree, with the ROV ensuring that the GT and FLGT test line quick connectors correctly disengage from the tree top plate.